Welcome back everybody to PoolieMagTV, the raw, unedited, unscripted NUFC fan channel where everybody's got an opinion and nobody's opinion's wrong. So, today we're going to jump straight into the video. It's going to be around Eddie Howe's future, around the Saudi owners coming out, and will they let the Newcastle fans know about the future of Eddie Howe before the end of the season, and why I think it's important that they do so. So, quickly, if you like what you hear, like what you see, hit like, hit subscribe and share the channel, all that jazz. Thank you for everybody who does comment, everybody who has subscribed and everybody who has shared the channel. Now that that's out the way, let's get back into the football matters. So Newcastle United have got a massive decision to make, haven't they? Things aren't going well on the pitch whatsoever. Things don't seem to be going well in the dressing room. Players seem to be unhappy. Players don't seem to be playing for this manager. They don't seem to be gelling well anymore. Eddie Howe's coming out and saying in press conferences that he doesn't tell the players to do this, but they are doing this. There just seems to be a divide. It seems like the honeymoon's over a little bit with Eddie Howe at Newcastle United, and a lot of fans are sick. Don't get me wrong. You've still got people who want Eddie Howe, people who think Eddie Howe, given more money, will turn this around. You've got sycophants like Craig Hope, who can't see no wrong in Eddie Howe. I don't mind if you Eddie Howe in, but to go to the lengths that Craig Hope does to defend this man is borderline stalker material. You know, like Craig, he's not going to sleep with you. Just, you know, he's not. He's a happily married man. Stop. It's weird. It's shameful, and it's shameless from you. But anyway, you're a reporter, and you're not a Newcastle fan. All you want is access to Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe comes across really good in the media. He lets you have access to him. He's not blunt. He's not, you know, he's not nasty like Steve Bruce could be. He doesn't ban you out the press conferences. So that's why you placate him, and that's why you give all, like, you give him 10 out of 10 of praise, no matter what he does. And I can't watch Craig Hope's channel no more because it's totally biased. It's not unbiased. Now, I've come on here and I've said Eddie Howe out for a long time, but when he's played well and when we played well, you know, I've given him the kudos that he deserves. I've congratulated the team and I've congratulated him and I've scored him highly when I do my scorings. You know, I'm not biased towards Eddie Howe. I just don't think he's the manager to take us forward. I think he's proven that this season. I think he's proven that over the last couple of seasons in reality. You know, you can't lose over 40 league games in 3 seasons and say you're a very good manager, because you're not. And he's had money to spend, so nobody can blame PSR, nobody can blame Alexander Isak, nobody can blame anybody but Eddie Howe and the players, because the players have down tools this season. But I never, ever seen players down tools for Alex Ferguson. Now, I've seen Man U teams better than other Man U teams, but I never seen an Alex Ferguson team down tools. And did I see them get beat? Did I see them get outclassed at times? Yes. But I never seen them down tools. So who's that on? Is that on the players or is that on the manager? Because at some point it's got to come from the manager, hasn't it? Now, your team's only as good as the person who's leading it. And that's the same for any army, from the Romans to now, any corporation, from the beginning of corporations to now, any field that requires a leader, your team is only going to be as good as that leader. Now, if your leader is weak, if your leader doesn't have no passion, no fire, no drive, well, then that rubs off on your players. If your leader has favourites, if your leader, is stubborn, doesn't listen to advice, isn't flexible, that also rubs off on the players. Because players get sick of playing in rigid. People get sick of the same thing over and over and over again. They really do. I know if I had to do the same thing over and over again and my ideas were getting shot down, say I went into a supervision or an appraisal and I had some good ideas that most people agreed with, and my leader just went, nah, see you later, you're doing my way or the highway. Now, there's certain things that players have to do. They've got to go to training, they've got to do these things. But if you're not making it interesting no more, or they aren't buying what you're selling, it's time for you to go. Football isn't like how it used to be. There's only really Diego Simeone, isn't there? That's part of the old school, where you get time to rebuild 3 or 4 or 5 different teams, like Pep has. There's not many managers afforded that time. And I don't think Eddie Howe should be given another season. But that's down to the owners to decide. And that's what this video is really about. When are the owners going to come out and let the Newcastle fans know? The Saudis are quite secretive, aren't they? They don't let much out. And I think that's a good thing sometimes, because you don't want too much of your business in the tabloids. And you certainly don't want too much of your business all over social media and in the news. Because then other clubs have one up on you, or especially if it's about finances and things like that, they'll charge double for a player that's not worth it, or they'll come in for players that are deemed unhappy. But when it's about your manager, either come out and back him and say he's staying next season, or do what Bournemouth have done, do what Crystal Palace have done, do what other managers do, or other clubs do, and say, look, Eddie, we don't want to sack you for what you've done, but I think it's time we parted ways. And I think if you come out, Klopp did it. I think if you come out and let the fans know what's going on, they might get behind you a little bit more. I think nobody at the end of the day, unless you're an absolute idiot, hates Eddie Howe, or is going to ever forget what Eddie Howe's done for Newcastle United, because he's been a fantastic manager overall. From where we were to where we are, from where we were last season, was a great run. But this season, and parts of last season, and parts of the season before, have shown me that this guy has limitations. Now, I don't dislike him as a person, I don't know him as a person, but from what I see, he comes across okay. But I just think it's time to move on. But the club and the owners have to tell them, they don't have to, but I wish they would tell the Newcastle fans what the hell is going on? Because we're in the dark here. It's a little bit of a civil war going on, the Eddie in or the Eddie out brigade. It doesn't matter what you are, as long as you're not sycophantic like Craig Hope and Lee, not Lee Ryder, Luke Edwards, that's the one. You know, just bumming them up to high heaven, which does your head in, and the likes of Gordon and all them players that get bummed up to high heaven. It does you nothing, but you're allowed an opinion. You are allowed an opinion, and if you want Eddie Howe to have another season, you think he deserves another season, give me the reasons why you think he deserves another season, and what you think the outcome of that other season will be. Because I think if we give him more money, he's going to buy more and more of the same players, and we're going to be more and further and further behind. PIF have an obligation now for Eddie Howe. You know, they have an obligation to Eddie Howe to either keep him and back him massively in the summer, because that's what it needs. So you either go all in on this manager and you think, right, he's our manager for the next 4.5 years, and one bad season isn't going to curtail that, and one bad season isn't going to have us doubt him, then you've got to go all out in the summer. But for me, come on, let this unrest go now. Give the Newcastle fans some news. Give the Newcastle fans something they can talk about in a positive way. Whether it is Eddie in, at least then we can get our heads round it. But at the minute, the club's in free fall. At the minute, it looks full of instability. It looks like there's a lot of infighting, not just amongst the fans, but amongst the team and the management and the coaching setup. The players just do not look happy. And the manager doesn't look happy, Jason Tyndall doesn't look happy, Graham Jones doesn't look happy, and Piff certainly can't be happy, because we're not happy either. So what's going to happen? Will Piff let the Newcastle United fans know what's going on, or will they keep it in the dark? Will Eddie Howe get a send-off at the end of the season, or will he get another summer? For me, I think it should be a send-off in the final home game, do a speech or something, thank the fans, even the ones who want him out. 99% of them will cheer him and clap him off and wish him all the best in his future endeavours, just like I will. But if you're going to go all in on Eddie Howe and think, right, this guy is still the man, this guy has proven that one bad season doesn't erase 3 or whatever good seasons, 3.5 good seasons, well then, fair enough. But come out and let us know. Give us a little bit, come out and talk to the public. Come out and let us know what the hell is going on. Will Piff keep Eddie Howe? Do you want Piff to keep Eddie Howe? These are some serious questions in the future of Newcastle United. Will they go all in on Eddie Howe? Will they give him more money? Do you want them to give him more money? I don't. I want us to get a fresh outlook. I want us to get a fresh direction. And I want us to get a fresh manager. But if we do keep Eddie Howe, I'll support him. I might not want him as my manager, but I won't ever want Newcastle to lose. I'll give him a fresh start in the summer. I won't change my mind on him, but I won't be biased either for him or against him. If he starts winning 7, 8, 9 matches in a row, I won't suddenly say he's the best thing since sliced bread, but I don't dislike the guy either. So that's where I'm at with this. But I think Piff need to come out now and let Newcastle United know where the hell we stand. Are we going to have Eddie Howe as manager next season? Because the last thing we want is to be in a state of flux going into the summer. That is the last thing Newcastle United need. Another disruptive summer. We do not need it. We can't afford to have another disruptive summer. We need to get ahead of the game. We need to get ahead of the game. We were way behind the 8 ball in last summer, and it's cost us a little bit. We can't afford to do that this summer. We need to be ahead of the game. So will we keep Eddie Howe, or will we sack Eddie Howe, or will we let Eddie Howe go? Anyway, comment down below what you think. Hit like, hit subscribe, and as I always say, keep it black and white and keep it PoolieMagTV. Over and out, folks.